Welcome back, Overwatch fans, to another amazing night.
We have a fantastic match tonight, no question about it.
Oh my god, yes!
But the barrage! Make sure they can't even follow up afterward.
And Watchers found 2 in this fight thus far. Make that 3, make that 4 right now here. Dynamic team gets a 4-man tire.
Those who find the picks will save the fight, and they don't really need to save what they've already won.
100 gets 3 wins the Primal Rage.
Experience tranquility.
Tranquility Gaming Week 3 EU Harmony tier. It is I, Toasty, and I'm going to be joined here by a booth to bring you Venice Vipers versus FrequenC, a game that was actually played yesterday, but we're going to be bringing it to you today.
That's right. We're going off of match replays. This match was supposed to be going on yesterday when all the Discord fiasco was going down. So the teams ended up playing it out. Weren't able to broadcast it, but happy we're going to be able to show it here today. Venice Vipers 1-1, FrequenC sitting 0-2. So both teams really striving to get as good as a record as they can. I mean, week 3 here is getting close to the end of stage 1. So out of the first 5 matches, that's going to determine their seeding going into stage 2. So win here it's almost do or die here for FrequenC. If they want to end up placing high enough here in these first 5 matches, then Venice Vipers really need a win here if they're going to push for some of the top seeding in their group.
Yeah, Venice Vipers, they really want to solidify this kind of mid-table seeding they have so far. 1-1, you really want to be getting these wins in, and they are definitely capable of doing that. Over in the preseason, obviously the preseason finals, they're the preseason finalists. Yeah. And they did take an L to EU Scrimbucks, but it was a pretty close L, I'm not going to lie. They played well up to them, considering that Jackson was a nut on the Pharah and other heroes as well. I think if I remember correctly, 2 Madre and Mate were the 2 main players that I was pointing out during that game, alongside Fori and Maya. Back in, I think they were playing like DPS and tank and just like off-rolling a little bit as well towards the end. And there were some funny moments in that game as well, so hopefully some good content coming out of this one.
Yeah, I really hope so. We're going to be, of course, opening on Ilios. That's our first map in this week, because reminder to people, even though we do have a map pool, we do predetermine our control map when it comes into our week. So this is our 3rd rotation, week 3. So you'll be seeing Ilios in your matches tonight if you're tuning in. Of course, NA will have its normal matches this evening. EU matches should be starting in about an hour. So you're going to get a little more Ilios gameplay this week. But yeah, excited. FrequenC, definitely one of the lower SR teams here. Really looking for something to prove. I believe their first week, they weren't even in Tranquility yet. So kind of they're sitting 0-1. They weren't in for the first week, hence why the 0-2 so far. But we will see here as teams kick in, as we kick right over to Ilias.
Yeah, and as well, I'm looking at the team sheet right now. FrequenC have some interesting quirks with their team. Most of their team is around the 2 to 2.1k range, while they have 2 players, Funky Pants and Papa Smurf, that are both at 2.5, so potentially looking at those as carry players, and every role for every player is flex. That intrigues me.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, some people end up doing that more so they can... they don't have to roll lock in because they're low enough SR here. So I'm going to guess they probably still do have some predetermined roles here. Maybe they are just swapping every map. That's not the first time that's happened in Tranquility. That would be quite interesting. Some of the only teams to do that have been, I believe, Get Off My LAN, who, in the nicest way I can say it, not normally the team you want to end up being compared to in Tranquility when it comes to team success. But nevertheless, we're going to get in here. We're going to have Venice Vipers here on our left side in the blue, and then, of course, FrequenC over here on the right. And we kind of see the brawl coming out here, and the dive going to be coming out against here on the Venice Vipers. But this Widowmaker is going to have some trouble.
Yeah, it intrigues me that you call it a brawl when you have a Moira Baptiste, a Widowmaker Doomfist. This is looking like a crazy game already, and we're 10 seconds in here, Booth. We're going to see what comes from this Widowmaker. Oh! Already hits the shot onto Mate, eliminates the Genji. That's the crux of the dive gone, and potentially now FrequenC should be taking the team fight win, but Funky Pants almost gets caught out by the Monkey, gets back to their team to the Sanctuary, but still taken out. Very aggressive play from Jolise, and 2 Madre comes in with the punch, takes on Mini Ninja, and that looks to be the cap here from Venice Vipers.
Yeah, it just seems like FrequenC got a little split. I mean, they had the initial picks, but they didn't have their main heals on the point there with the Moira. Well, I guess main heals. They have 2 main healers in a sense. But yeah, the Moira are playing with the team there. So even though they had that Genji pick, I mean, the damage can end up getting peeled off on the rest of the tanks. So it's going to see this dive. Has a good setup. They're going to be able to fall down onto the side of the FrequenC here. But oh my god, get down again! What positioning for Skyflyer gets him caught out.
Yeah, I was talking about everyone else's carry players, but Bouncy Mouse is really making a name for themselves. They take down 2, that's a backline gone, eliminated into nothingness, and now Venice Vipers have to try and make a play, try and make some aggression happen, and Mini Ninja goes down. 2-for-2 trade now, 4-for-4 fight, and it does look as if that will be traded out in the favor of FrequenC. They get 2 Magic, they get Carrick, and this will merit a disengage from the Venice Vipers.
Yeah, really hard to come back when you're down 2, even though they ended up getting 1 bit of a trade there. You're not going to be able to come back in. So they have some ultimates coming online. Still not tons yet. I mean, with the early picks like this, you're not giving your team much of a chance to build up ults. But realistically, Viper should be able to retake this.
Bouncy Mouse flying, oh my. When pigs fly, more like when Widowmakers fly. I guess when spiders fly would be the joke for that. A bit late for that now, though, as Mate gets the kill off onto them, just assassinates them in the back line, and that bomb could be big over on the point. Breaks the immortality, and 2 Madre comes in, slams them all down, pummeling them into the ground, and that will be the flip.
And there, we just saw the alt rotation kind of come in, but honestly, you got to be scared of your FrequenC. Nanoblade's still online. It's just going to be coming down to that immortality field to try to prepare against it. They should have pretty good chance of this. Maybe you even want to try to shatter the Genji if you get a chance, if you're FrequenC here. But they're still trying to find these open picks, but as long as they have this good positioning from Venice Vipers, they should be able to negate most of this Widowmaker sidelines.
Yeah, potentially, as that's the Earth Shatter from Sneaky Salmon. Talk about Sneaky, they took a very direct approach. That's Bunny and 2 Madre falling, and I think that is just a straight-up teamfight win for FrequenC. You're not coming back from that. But the Venice Vipers, Jolise is kind of detached from the fight, though, and Mate goes down, so yeah, I do think that will clinch it up here for FrequenC, but Sneaky Salmon and Mini Ninja off the map? Bouncy Mouse is going to try and clutch this up. It's a Doomfist versus Doomfist over on the point, and the Mercy and the Ana both still at large, able to get the healing through. Bouncy Mouse trying to clutch up, kills off Skyflower, but they're assassinated by 2 Madres, slamming them into the wall. And still, it's looking a bit dangerous for FrequenC as 2 Madre just comes in with the kills. Oh my! Sneaky Salmon returns and gets the kill onto Bunny. There's the flip over. But Funky Pants goes off the map, and it just looks like it'll be an immediate flip back over and probably a round win for Venice Vipers if they can just get the final kills through.
Yeah, it just seems like FrequenC is a little disorganized there. That was a good nano from Skyfire. They ended up using it on the Dragon Blade. They ended up throwing it onto their Winston, who was then able to stall out the point a little bit there on that really impressive hold. That had to have been like 40% at least, I think it was, that they were holding on there. But just interesting compositions across each way. It seemed like FrequenC was trying to take fights by like really trying to open up with some picks there. And when they weren't able to from Bouncy Mouse, they just weren't able to really do much into the fight. But if their Widowmaker skills can continue, this is definitely the spot on Ilios where you would give them the best chance here with long sightlines.
Yeah, we were talking about a potential upset for FrequenC, and they were making it look good in that round. But now what Bouncy Mouse has to contend with is 2 Mad Ray over on that Widowmaker as well. You're going to see some wacky compositions again. Funky Pants over to the Cassidy this time around with the same heroes on FrequenC. But this Moira Mercy intrigues me.
Yeah, not the healing comp you're normally used to seeing there. The Mercy probably going to be trying to damage boost the DPS here, but I don't know, that's a lot of... If they can sustain and get some good poke there with FrequenC, the Moira shouldn't be able to heal too much. Oh my.
Yeah, 2 Madre just clipping their head through the tree branches. Nice predictive shot, honestly, unless they're playing on low graphics. Not sure if that affects it, but now Mate is in the back trying to take out Mini Ninja. Looks to be succeeding as well, but 2 Madre yoinks the kill from them. And Mate just takes the kill onto the AFK Moira as well. Tactical reset, we'll call that.
Yeah, but now they have the positioning. Look at this far high ground here that the Winston's able to take. They're holding, gosh, as close to spawn as it's normally acceptable on this map. And 2 Madre just isn't going to get touched. Like, who is going to deal with them besides the Widowmaker? And right now, they're winning this Widow duel against Bouncy Mouse.
Yeah, it's one of the wisest things I think many coaches have told me in Overwatch is that the best way to deal with a Widowmaker is a Widowmaker, but it can also be the worst way because your Widowmaker has to win those duels. It hasn't been happening so far. As 2 Madre gets another one onto Bouncy Mouse, and there's the bomb you're just yeeted in there by Jolise, getting the zoning through, but Mate actually goes down to a flash right click from Funky Pants. And the Coalescence used, but there's a shatter from Sneaky Salmon catching out 3, and they'll get the cleanup through onto that. A nice 2k for the Reinhardt, and this will be the flip.
And now it's really going to come down to how does FrequenC respond to finally getting the position here to give their Widowmaker some better high ground, give them a better sightline. Like right now, 2 Madre still is uncontested. The D.Va's the only one that can try to go up there. They try to push, but they're not able to reach it because there's still support. So even though they have the point here, they still can't deal with the biggest threat of Venice Vipers.
Yeah, and Venice Vipers still, I mean, even when they're re-engaging, they still have all of the sightline control, because Mini Ninja can't just walk out into the open like that. That'll be Sneaky Salmon falling to Jolise as well. Brilliant follow-up from the dive. And, you know, it was flipped over for about 25%, but that's going to go straight back into Venice Vipers' possession.
It is, and it's going to be really difficult for the side of FrequenC to really come back here. They do have some ults. I mean, the Shatter is what won them the first time. There really isn't tons to deal with that Shatter if they can get away with the bubble, but a really early Primal, it looks like this fight's already getting close to being over.
Yeah, pretty much. Carrick getting the follow-up through with the Primal. Funky Pants goes down, dealing some shield and cleave damage. Probably has to back up a little bit, but that bomb just buys some time for them to escape. And Bouncy Mouse goes down, not to 2 Madre this time, so that's some accomplishment, but it's still falling early in the fight. And the Dragon Blade coming through big for Mate as they take out Funky Pants, take out Sneaky Salmon, looking for some backline kills as well. Perhaps getting a bit greedy, has to back up, saved by the Coalescent. And a nice deflect onto the Widowmaker shot as well, as the D.Va is going to desperately try and dash towards that point. But it doesn't look like they're going to get there in time, Booth.
No, it sure doesn't. The point sitting uncontested here, and really this didn't seem like... Oh, they are able to barely touch on the side there. Looks like Venice Vipers got caught out, and that Shatter is going to allow the side of FrequenC to recontest now. But wow,
yeah,
just in time.
Yeah, almost came to a backup there as Venice Vipers get on just at the last minute, but it's not like that matters as Mate is the only person alive here who can really dish out some damage. They take out Quirky Turtle, so it's not looking too bad for them, but the D.Va being D-Mech means there's a lack of peel. High Noon as well from Funky Pants will clean up on things. There's 2 kills for them there. But now, it's going to be tricky for Venice Vipers, not Venice Vipers, for the other team, to win here, because they look at this amount of percentage they have to get.
Yeah, and really, they haven't tried anything new. They're just one off of a couple of ults. Really, it was the Shatter again. The back cap and the Shatter allowed them to recontest, but they still haven't dealt with what's been allowing the side of Venice Vipers to win here, and it's just a matter of time before they retake.
Just a matter of time, you say, as this Primal Rage is going to come through from Carrick, bashing the Reinhardt away from the rest of their team, leaving them open to this potential Diva Bomb. That's going to come up big. The tank synergy coming up huge there for them, as there's that Shadow from Sneaky Salmon to at least try and equalize, and oh my, does it equalize. That gets 2 kills through, and that will be the follow-up from the rest of the squad as well. Sneaky Salmon takes out the Baby Diva, and Mate is trying to get something done in the backline with the Dragon Blade, gets the kill off onto the Baptiste, and it looks like that clutch from the Genji will bag them the point and the map here.
Yes, it does. That was a really good job from the side of the Venice Vipers. They didn't really have anything with frequency to deal with the Blade, and took out the Immortality Field. That was their only weapon against it. And now on the recontest, it's going to be almost impossible with that Widowmaker up, and there it is at the end. We have 1-0 going to the Venice Vipers on a pretty, I would say, aggressive first point there. It just seemed like they were a little more cohesive than frequency really was at the end. And although the comps were both a little screwy in the nicest way, it seems like whatever the choices Venice Vipers made, frequency wasn't able to deal with.
Yeah, frequency, I think we're often starting out on a bad composition and then trying to, well, not even trying to adapt later on. They were trying to adapt their playstyle mostly to the enemy composition instead of just making wholesale swaps to, like, I genuinely think there, like, a Mei Cassidy Rush would have been the best bet, right?
Yeah.
Sure, you're playing against a Widowmaker, sure, you're playing against a Genji, but the Cassidy deals with the Genji, and as long as you're playing around the sidelines well, you deal with a Widowmaker. It just wasn't enough, I guess, tactical adaptations there, and it was more just like, oh yeah, let's run it down mid a bunch of times, and sometimes take a different rotation, and it pretty much never worked out. There was a bit of a flip on Ruins there, but it just wasn't enough to really clinch out that map for them, so we'll see if they can do anything on Hanamura here.
Yeah, Hanamura, and now we saw a lot of Widow plays so far. Probably expect a little bit here. Symmetra just seems to be, you know, the play for pretty much all teams here on first point, but you know, if the teams want to go some more of this long-range DPS, this is definitely a good spot here for it on that first point defense. Both teams seem to enjoy the Mercy composition as well. Having that res will be pretty beneficial for both sides, but maybe for frequency now, who this is where they pull out that full Brawl comp. I mean, it seems like they're at least more comfortable with that Brawl tank setup. So it'll be interesting to see if they follow through with that in the rest here. And our sides have swapped frequency, going to be on the defense here right off the bat. Venice Vipers are going to be on the attack, and we're already seeing that Widowmaker Doomfist come back out again. Bouncy Mouse going to be staying on hit, and they're going with the Moira Baptiste on the heels. Interesting.
Yeah, I would love to say if it ain't broke, don't fix it here, but that only applies to Bouncy Mouse. Everything else about this composition is so utterly cursed. Funky Pants kind of inting into the backline in the previous round. You've got the Baptiste Moira. It just doesn't make too much sense to me, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it really doesn't, and you know, they're going to have trouble here with how mobile this comp's going to be here with this teleporter coming out from DMJY for the side of the Venice Vipers. So if they're able to just get rid of some of the sightlines for the Widowmaker, it's really up to Funky Pants to deal with this comp when they go in, because they don't have the burst.
Yeah, and this TP. Oh, but it doesn't come through. Bouncy Mouse gets the headshot through. Who needs the mobility when you have a Widowmaker clicking heads? And they're going to get the Zarya as well. Keep Bouncy Mouse on this hero, I tell you.
Yeah, I mean, all right, stick to it then. I mean, really, you would think that the Reinhardt shield should be enough to allow them to get through the choke here. So it's going to come down to the Venice Vipers kind of just shielding this enough to allow the Widowmaker not to get a shot off on your Symmetra. That's not the target you want to go down in this comp. You don't really want to lose anybody, but that's pretty key to this here. So they need to stop poking their heads around. They are on the Diva now instead of that Zarya. Maybe going to try to send that Diva to help deal with the Widow. But all right, going to the top left high ground here. They got to be careful for Funky Pants, though, who should have a good slam on, but no, doesn't take advantage of it.
They're going to do it on the other side. They're going to do it around this left side here and see if they can get this 180 slam through. I'm interested to see if it gets any kills off of it, as Jolise has fallen, so the rotation already kind of cursed here for FrequenC. As that's Funky Pants coming into the backline, getting 3 kills. Oh my! Completely uncontested, gets a 4K. Brilliant stuff.
There it is. That was very smart of them. They waited for the cooldowns to kind of reset. That was at least what Venice Vipers were trying to do. But that Zenyatta is just a sitting duck for Funky Pants there. So Bunny went down pretty quick. Now you see another off-tank swap. We're going over to the Roadhog now. That must be their counter to the Doomfist. But oh my goodness, the early Shatter coming out. They're already up 2 picks.
Yeah, and Sneaky Salmon did try and get that Shatter down, but there was no follow-up on it because of this long-range pressure from DMJY. They got that initial kill, and they're controlling the sightlines very well, I tell you. Gonna contest that Doomfist up on the high ground as well. Don't think the Doomfist is winning that duel. Do manage to get into the backline and kill Skyflower, but that's not enough to get the the full-on recontest, and this will be the cap.
Not at all. Oh no, Mini Ninja, run! Run! Don't get hooked! Don't get hooked! Oh, they're able to just break through here. Well, I mean, a pretty good hold. Just under 2 minutes are left, so we have 4:42 left here for the attack. Alts are going to be rotating out for both teams here, so shouldn't be a snowball if they can get off a good window and try to negate some of this high ground pressure, where it looks like that's where the Venice Vipers are going to be pushing. But they need to be careful. If they still have if they get a whole hog while they're all still up in this top room, that'll be able to create a lot of space. But I like this good spread that the side of FrequenC has. But there goes Bouncy Mouse again.
Yeah, talk about spread. I mean, DMJY spreading that Widowmaker's cheeks across the floor, destroying them there. And this will be Carrick dropping the Earth Shatter with the Nano Boost on them. Oh my! Wow. That is a massacre. But they pinned the bomb! Wow. Oh, that was so close. Barely staying alive, and maybe even not that. Being kept alive by the Ana, but Funky Pants is in there, Bouncy Mouse as well, so potentially the defense coming through for solid recontest as that Doomfist gets it done. The Coalescence and the Matrix, both support ultimates invested to try and get that recontest, and they get just that as Carrot goes down, and there's your stability out of the team fight just to clean up now.
Yeah, a lot of ults, but no progress made on the attack there. Oh, an interesting ult. I'm going to guess you're going to see a swap. That's why they're using the whole hog there. The Roadhogs seem to really just be a counter to that Doomfist anyway. They're probably going to maybe go back to that Diva again. Yeah, you're going to see them go back to the Diva here. I'm going to stick with the Hanzo Cassidy. I haven't casted in a while. I actually haven't had a chance to change that yet. But they have the double DPS ults. The sightlines from Bouncy Mouse should be popped here pretty soon to try to give them a little bit of play before this goes in. But the Shatter is really the win condition here for FrequenC. They need to get this off before the ultimates really come out from the Venice Vipers.
Surprised Venice Vipers haven't gone for that Dragon Strike. Okay, never mind. They do it right as I say that. And it doesn't quite force them all off the high ground because there's a little gap there where the arrow traveled through. So good heads-up play, I think, from FrequenC to hide in that little gap. And Skyflower goes down here. Bouncy Mouse playing a nasty off angle. But DMJY once again goes to recontest. But it doesn't matter because Ghost Dog gets that kill onto Carrick. Sneaky Salmon gonna do the rest of the cleanup. That's the problem with playing into a Brawl composition. You've got to deal with this two-pronged attack from the Widowmaker and the Brawl.
Well, there we go. Another good hold. Still no progress. A good job here on the defense for FrequenC. This comp definitely suiting them here. I really like this crossfire they're able to do by putting Bouncy Mouse on the other high ground. Right now, they're stepping forward. Oh my gosh, Skyflower down again. Oh man, buddy, what is... Okay, you leave Bouncy Mouse for sure on this Widowmaker, but like, what do you need to do here if you're the side of FrequenC to try to help boost Bouncy Mouse's performance so far? Because right now they're seeming like the carry.
I think get Arrest Sigma, get the Mercy Pocket, you know, throw the Baptiste Immortality Field on them when they're in danger. Just keep Bouncy Mouse alive because they are popping off and ruining your backline. What is this off angle? Are you kidding me? This is utter hubris.
Wow, they need to push in and take advantage of this. Either go in, kill the Widowmaker, who, oh, they're going to get the grapple back just in time. They should be able to get away. Yeah, they are. Oh, that was sneaky. But okay, now you got to rush in. You can't sit here and wait anymore. You've got the Reinhardt. Maybe even go to the Lucio instead of the Zenyatta here and just push past these sightlines.
Yeah, and they're still not dealing with Bouncy Mouse's off angle, but Sneaky Salmon going for the Chad pin in. I don't think that quite works out for them, as that's a Reinhardt trade, but the Reaper going down means there's a bit of an imbalance in the favor of Venice Vipers, looking to progress forward onto that point and ticking up in the percentage. Diva Nano's a bit inspirational there, I'm not gonna lie. It doesn't really get too much. Perhaps a waste of resources, but they still managed to get over into the sideline over by Coast, killing off the Widowmaker, dealing with the threat, and Mate holding the high noon, breaks the shield, D-Max the Diva, and looking to potentially clinch this offense for them. But the Shadow comes through, and the bomb. That is a massive, a great combo. Should just manage to get the cap through with 35 seconds remaining.
Yeah, just enough time there. Seemed like the separation was just a little too much there for FrequenC. As soon as a couple of their members started to fall there in that fight, they weren't able to really rally behind it and take care of it too much. So unfortunate on their side, because their defense was looking pretty good there. I mean, Bouncy Mouse obviously really taking on a lot of weight here for their team. Absolutely crushing it on that Widowmaker. But, I mean, you can take care of the Widowmaker if you're Venice Vipers, and they showed that. You either need to decide to take on the 5v6 and try to get a pick before the Widowmaker does, or you push the Widowmaker and distract them. But it seemed like that was what was working better for them here. I will say on the attack, it might be a little harder here for the Widowmaker. I mean, they have some pretty good sight lines they can set up, but already you see them off of that composition. We'll see if they stick with it. I mean, the Symmetra definitely doesn't seem out of place. We'll see if they stick with the Bastion composition there. They might try to do a setup, but this just feels like a they really just need to. Maybe this is like something where Sneaky Salmon just prefers the Reinhardt. I feel like an Orisa would just be a pretty good combo with a lot of what they've been running.
Yeah, indeed. Especially in this situation. If you were going to run the Symmetra Bastion, you want Reinhardt Orisa, you want Orisa Sigma, anything of that like, but it's Reinhardt Diva here. You do have a massive heal, so I guess you can keep the Bastion alive, but the shielding is a bit suboptimal.
Yeah, not the best. I mean, they're probably trying to stay mobile, but then again, you're not really mobile if you're running the Bastion, and it looks like they are. They're going to go up the right high ground here. Look, the Sonic Arrow, it just missed, so they're not actually going to know here, but my goodness. Matteo on that Junkrat might have a field day if they're lucky enough here, because this is exactly what they want to see as a Bastion bunker comp here. Oh my.
Yeah, that's the Bastion going down immediately. That's the problem with not having the Orisa Sigma. You can't just shield off an off-angling Hanzo like that, and they get the Sonar Arrow kill onto them. And they poop the Moira almost off of the edge.
Wow.
That was Mate. Good stuff coming through there. And they're all looking to just clean up on all of the disorder that is this weird composition that's being played. And that will be the cleanup coming through there. Oh, some exit kills here, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not exit kills, maybe an exit team fight win, potentially. Is Bouncy Mouse carrying, but they don't quite get the final few kills through.
Well, if they can group up and go in here, maybe even just wait out. Both supports are coming out of spawn, and my goodness, look how far forward Reinhardt is without any heals. They've got to be careful here. I mean, Funky Pants going in could really do some damage to this Reinhardt that they couldn't heal back up. But they're already switching off the Symmetra comp and going back to pretty much what we've seen him run all night.
Yeah, and I mean, it's been working to some extent for them. Let's see if they can get anything out of it here. As that tire comes through, Mate trying to maneuver their way around, but they don't get anything off of it. And instead, it's going to be Funky Pants and Bouncy Mouse doing all of the work. Unfortunately, coming up short with a tire there meant they didn't have any kills to work with. But Bunny does get a little bit of a fancy kill off onto the Reinhardt regardless.
Yeah, we've seen bumping out, our Bunny, excuse me, over onto the Lucio. Probably will fare better against this composition here. On the defense, it's going to be interesting to see where they go. We do see Mate. I apologize for the Matimo earlier, kind of showing off that I used to watch Rainbow Six Siege stuff back in the day. But Mate over now on the Soldier. So they're going to be contesting with this Widowmaker now, who really is going to have to be just peeking for sight lines through whatever crack they can. So just don't peek the Widow, or maybe try to peek the Widow. It's worked every now and then. Yeah, okay, maybe you can peek the Widow once in a while.
Yeah, and that's that Dragon Strike coming through, absolutely tearing the enemy team apart as FrequenC can't get too much done there in the face of a large German man shoving his hammer into your face. No innuendo there, and that'll be the team fight cleanup coming through.
That seemed like a lot. I honestly, I don't even know if the nano boost was needed. The nano was kind of used when they're initiating, so that doesn't seem too far out of line. But oh my goodness, another falling. But that was 3 big ults there. They got the flux, it's about it. But there's a good amount of ults available here for FrequenC. If there's a fight for them to go in, it should be here soon. That pick was a little too early to really make too much of a difference. But if they can get another pick here on the side, this is the chance for them.
Call into bomb could create so much chaos here, I think, and that might be what they go for, as that'll be the Coalescence and the Earth Shatter coming through. Sneaky Salmon landing it onto 2, and they get the cleanup. Characters pin them into the corner. Bouncy Mouse goes down, so potentially the opportunity to turn this back into their favor for FrequenC. And yeah, that does happen. They kill off the Sigma, they kill off the Hanzo. Flux didn't really get too much done. And this will be the solid attack finishing off here for the offense.
Yeah, they are going to a little bit of a stall here. If they can get a couple more picks, possibly. If they lose the Reinhardt here, which charge seems heroic, but now they're cut off from heals. And it looks like they're going to be able to stabilize.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, Sneaky Salmon is still there with some kills, and they are wreaking havoc on the point, but the Lucio just a little bit too hard to kill off there with the hammer. Lovely DMGY trying to do something with the Dragon Strike, kills off Mini Ninja. The Sneaky Salmon is still tearing things up on the Reinhardt, absolutely dipping Carrick, kills him off with the swings. And this stall, I mean, it's all about buying time, I think, here, more than actually winning the team fights.
Yeah, honestly, at this point, you're just trying to take as much time off the clock, considering you have 35 seconds left. And, I don't know, this is the crazy fight.
Sneaky Summon's gone, though, which I think means that there is going to be a stabilization on the defense. That stabilizing factor was Sneaky
huge.
Salmon, and with them gone, you can land that big shatter. Carrick slams 2 of them down. That's the cleanup. I wasn't looking hopeful there for Venice Vipers, but they really proved me wrong.
Sure did. Well, I mean, this is one of the downsides of running this Moira, right? You have a lot of healing up front, but that was what, like a 2-minute or so long stall they were trying to go through there. I mean, they got the 2 ticks, but after a while, you just run out of resources. And I mean, with Sneaky Sam, who was really being the one putting in the damage there, you need to keep that Reinhardt up at all costs, and they were just running out of heals at the end. Now, just under 2 minutes, they're just going to be about that once they initiate. Kind of even ults across each way. We do have the Dragon Strike, which is done well. We see Mate sticking onto this Tracer now, but oh, that's a good pick. They're probably not going to push in here without Bouncy Mouse, or they shouldn't at least, because they really do rely on those early picks. So that's just going to take another 20 seconds off the clock for them.
Look at this aggression coming into Sneaky Salmon.
Oh
Yeah, I mean, they're caught out on low HP, but they were healed up by the Baptiste, so it's going to be Dragon Strike to try and tear through them. Doesn't actually catch too much, but Mate is there in the backline, killing off Funky Pants and trying to frag the Reinhardt. They are taken down by the swing, but that allowed Jolise to get into the backline, get the the annoying rat plays through, and that'll be the mines. Oh, and the body block deals a lot of damage, and that should merit a disengage.
Wow, and any other time when you lose your team or get that aggressive, you expect it to be over, but this switch here over to the Wrecking Ball has been huge for their team. It's really dealing with Bouncy Mouse. Oh my gosh, look, they're just waiting for them to come out of spawn here. Bouncy Mouse knows it too, but it's effective. I mean, that's been the win condition here for the Venice fight, for FrequenC, right? Is just to try to get those initial picks, and they're not able to right now. You can't 1v1 a ball like that.
Yeah, Funky Pants can't quite win that duel out, and the element of surprise was too good there for Jolise, but still, a 2-for-2 trade benefits the defenders, if they can get out in time, that is, as Mini Ninja is going to keep on healing up their team over on the point, deciding not to heal the Widowmaker, but instead fragging out. Doesn't actually kill off Jolise, instead Bouncy Mouse goes down, and that looks to be the mistake that potentially loses them the team fight, and with 30 seconds on the clock, they are looking in dire straits.
Yeah, you really wanted to keep that window here for that last fight. They do have the bomb, I believe, set up. That shouldn't be enough. That's not going to be enough to window. It's going to come down to Bouncy Mouse. Oh, I like that. That's a good name for that. If Bouncy Mouse can get the early pick here, but they need to sustain the picks because the spawn advantage is so much for the defense here. They've got to get picks and continue.
Well, this ball is in the back line and slamming into Bouncy Mouse, takes him out with a pile drive, and Mini Ninja falls, so it's looking a bit dire as that shatter is dropped. Carrick, with the lack of a Reinhardt there, manages to just destroy them all, really. And this should be Venice Vipers stabilizing on the defense and a winning out map too. That's Hanamura going to the Venice Vipers.
Yes, it is, and a very impressive hold there. I mean, was that... Goodness, 4.5
minutes, I think.
4.5 at least? Yeah, that was quite a hold there from the Venice Vipers. It was very impressive. And it seemed like for a second, FrequenC had like found their mark. They found what they needed to do to really break through. But really, then Venice has changed up their play style and said, "All right, we're just going to send a wrecking ball into your backline and mess with your Widowmaker." And they weren't able to fix it. They tried to go to the McCree at the end to help stun out, but the ball play was just really impressive.
Yeah, I was saying earlier on about how maybe the best plan of action would be to take that Widowmaker duel against Bouncy, but it didn't. There was no need because you just have a Wrecking Ball get in the backline, you have a Tracer get in the backline, a Hanzo if you really need to take those long range duels and you can't access the Widowmaker. As much as it seems like Venice Vipers were kind of leading in the game and kind of setting the tempo, they were the ones that were adapting reactively to what FrequenC were doing, and it was the best call they could have made.
Yeah, it really was. They did a great job there switching things up. I've liked how fluid they've kind of been with things. They did a really good dive there on Ilios for us. They showed their brawl can work well, but then they also showed that this kind of like poke and pop is kind of style. They would put a lot of pressure in the back line, and then that Tracer was doing really well there from Mate to kind of follow up and get up a little bit more of that damage that was needed that the Wrecking Ball couldn't fulfill. But yeah, they're looking pretty strong here into halftime, already up 2-0. We are going to go to a quick 5-minute halftime, so we will be back shortly, but don't go anywhere.
Welcome back, folks, to the Tranquility Gaming EU Harmony tier. Sorry, I had something in my throat. Venice Vipers versus FrequenC coming up here, and obviously we're at the half, 2-0 for Venice Vipers, looking to clinch the series right here and now.
Yeah, they've did a really good job on Ilios, pretty dominant there, and then continued into Hanamura. You saw Venice Vipers kind of struggling a little bit on that initial defense, but then ended up holding really well. Ended up getting, I think, 35 seconds left on their attack, and then absolutely held for 4.5 minutes or something on point 2. Did a fantastic job with some interesting comps so far. It's been a lot of flashy DPS play for both teams, and a lot of Reinhardt dominance so far.
Yeah, we've had a lot of dominance in various aspects of this game. We've had Widowmakers popping off all over the place. We've had Wrecking Balls countering those Widowmakers. We've had Reinhardts all over the place, hitting shatters left, right, and center. It's been quite a game, and going into King's Row, I don't think that it's going to get any easier for these main tanks to keep up in this matchup.
No, not at all. I would be surprised if we're not seeing the Ryan v Ryans here. We might see some interesting DPS swap-ups. You're going to see Bouncy Mouse, I'm sure, on the Widowmaker, at least here on the attack, and try to get through. Maybe they'll try to go through with the double sniper or something. We'll see what they end up going with. But all right, we're going to be getting into our replay now. As we jump over, our sides have swapped again, so now the Venice Vipers are going to be on that defense. We're going to have FrequenC attacking, and you already see the Widowmakers coming out of both sides here. 2 Madre and Bouncy Mouse going to be having that legendary duel again. The double sniper on the defense with the Zarya. I mean, this feels like 19 Overwatch almost.
Yeah. And something to note here as well for Venice Vipers, a couple of subs. I don't believe, I can't remember, I don't think Miss Volta was in last map, and we also have Mate not in this time. Swapped out for someone, I'm not sure who.
Yeah, I do forget the names of myself as well, but these Widowmakers are already in their sights. Let's see who gets the first pick. Oh, no! Oh, ended up getting the connection. I think the 2 Madre got low there, but not low enough.
No. 2 Madre blocked it with the Venomine.
Oh my gosh. That was impressive.
5 head plays coming through from 2 Madre, so you can see the sub already having some impact, as they are going to swap to the Bastion composition, TP up to the statue head, the good old classic, but it gets destroyed. They can't quite get there, and this is going to buy some time for the defense, because now the TP has to be waited for.
Yeah, 30 seconds down, the best case scenario, they get set up here with 40 seconds left. But all right, here goes the second chance now. Teleporter should be back on.
And again, it's telegraphed. They predicted it, and they have the off angles in position. Widowmaker, Hanzo, you name it. As Funky Pants is trying to contest every single angle, but they cannot quite do it. As DMJY comes up with the 2K, and will immediately be putting a stop to this this tomfoolery.
It is. They did lose both their DPS at the end of that fight, but yeah, Bouncy Mouse switching back over from the Symmetra. Got a couple of big picks, and now with the respawns, they should be able to push back in here. Another pick. Are you kidding me?
Bouncy Mouse is just popping off, turning this back into their favor as Ghost Dog takes out Carrick. And, you know, despite how chaotic and odd those first 2 engagements were, it actually works out here for FrequenC. And that grab has got me confused. What was that?
Yeah, I mean, even if you're doing a comp switch, you're keeping Grab Dragon, right? They don't have, they just have a window to deal with that. They don't have a Transcendence. So, interesting to say the least. They do swap over to the D.Va, but still, I'm holding on to that grab before I swap.
Maybe they just figured they wouldn't ever get a chance to use it because they die before it happened, maybe. But Bouncy Mouse does end up falling first here, so they would make a duel. Going to be going to 2 Madare. This is dangerous, though. The Reinhardt slept up, but there's no shadow there for Sneaky Salmon, so can't follow up.
Yeah, they don't yet. They do have the Nano Boost to try to contest here. They also have the Dragon Strike and should be able to use it, but ults around each way. This is going to be whoever gets the first ult off should win this.
Well, this is going to be the Dragon Strike, like you say. Deals a lot of damage to the Cassidy, taken down by just a neutral body shot as DMJY again just tearing the opposition up, striking them down with the arrows. And that will be the defense stabilizing on the payload, and they have control of this choke now. That is crucial.
Yeah, honestly, we've been talking a lot about Bouncy Mouse and 2 Madre on the DPS here, but DMJ has been insane on this Hanzo. That was a big turnaround for them on Hanamura.
This will be the Nano Boost coming through, so the Reinhardt's going to be swinging at each other, trying to bait the Earth Shatters out. Why do you Fire Strike there? Oh my! The Mind Game's coming through as Carrick takes him out. And again, the defense just comes up better, as that was a bit of an MTD.
Yeah, good job there. Waited for just the right moment to shoot through and staggering out this poor baby diva now. Oh, Ghost Dog. Definitely don't want to see that. And they're in a good position. I mean, 2 Madre's just standing on the low ground here, so Bouncy Mouse should be able to get up to this high ground and get a little good angle. That's an interesting lay there. But, oh, okay, gonna jump right in their face and go very low, but neither falling fully yet, but Bouncy Mouse! Oh, no.
Yeah. If this was Valorant, 2 Madre would have died there from the wall bang, but it didn't quite happen. As Overwatch has some better game mechanics, I would say. As DMJY gets res back up, so it's still a 1-for-1 trade, but the pixel perfect kill from Funky Pants. Couldn't even see 2 Madre, kills him off, and that is a bit of a, you know, I guess matching DMJY on the Hanzo, showing they can do it too. It looks like the attack should be barreling forward, but there's still this bomb from the back ropes. What is going on? Jolise barely kept back by the Immortality Field, and somehow it's going to be that shadow coming through from Sneaky Salmon to potentially turn things around into their favor, as Jolise is in Bookstore taken down, and this Dragon Strike from Funky Pants should come up big. It zones so many players off and just strikes through them. I mean, you know, name checks out, Dragon Strike and all. And that's a 3k for Funky Pants to get that team fight win.
Oh, Mini Ninja in an insane Immortality Field there. Ended up blocking the Nanoed Reinhardt, the Shatter, and the Bomb. I mean, that's the only way FrequenC was able to sustain through there. And now the DPS really shining on FrequenC here so far. They're doing a fantastic job. We do see Bouncy now switching over to the Cassidy now. Oh, another E. DMJ losing the Dragon Strike. That's going to hurt them on this retest.
It really is. You would love to have that to make some space, but it doesn't even matter because Carrick is doing all the space making anyway. And MTD, like we said, I mean, just barreling into the enemy Reinhardt, nothing can be done despite the Baptiste Arna. And that will be a team fight win going to the Venice Vipers, and they can also stagger the Baptiste because they know they have ult.
Oh, that's an unfortunate stagger there for them. They're going to just get taken out here. A minute 30 left, so this is really hard territory now for the Vipers, right? Do you go in, and these fights haven't been 30-second fights that have been going on. We've had pretty long, extensive fights. But with now this forward positioning that you're getting from the Venice Vipers as well, they should be able to hold this just to one fight now, unless FrequenC takes a really quick econ fight and tries to draw out as many ults as possible.
Well, that's not going to be quite possible as DMJY starts fragging out onto Funky Pants, and there's the Earth Shatter, knocks down 3, and Sneaky Salmon stopping the Diva Bomb with a Shatter, but as fancy as that play was, it doesn't win them the team fight, so it's completely irrelevant.
Irrelevant, and lost 2 pretty key ults there. They really have to rely on the window being popped early enough to allow Funky Pants and Bouncy Mouse should be able to get both of their ultimates, but they're not going to have them to initiate with, and they're going to have the Dragon Strike, and they're going to have the ultimate from 2 Madre there on the Doomfist to open up with here. And you also lost Funky Pants. 30 seconds left. They don't really have enough time to fully regroup here. They're going to have to push in with like a Dragon Spawn or something.
Yeah, I think Funky Pants will just yeet it from spawn, but speaking of Dragon Strikes, that's going to be one from DMJY. So much damage over into that small corridor as Sneaky Salmon falls, and there is going to be attempted a touch from the Diva, but they're probably going to fall before it can happen. And 2 Madre just coming up massive with a Meteor Strike as well, killing off all those squishies who are completely defenseless and vulnerable. That's the defense stabilizing, getting that round win. I would say I'd call that a win, I think, for Venice Vipers. But there's still opportunities, I think, for FrequenC to turn this around. They just need a really good defense.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult if they don't first point hold this year. That's a very odd spot to try to defend. You really only have, like, what, one, if you have an early contest, you have the choke here on camera and maybe on the other side of Bookshop to hold. But that's just a really unfortunate place to have the cart stop. So their best chance here is going to be a first point hold, obviously, as it would be for any team. But if it gets past that, it's going to be really difficult for them to continue through. Their brawls looked very good. This Hanzo Widowmaker or Hanzo Kree, whatever they've ended up running here on the side of the Venice Vipers, has just been absolutely wonderful for them. It looks like they're going to open up here on that teleport comp. We'll see if FrequenC is able to deal with it as well as the Venice Vipers did towards them. But they're going with that double sniper loadout again, still sticking with that Moira and Moira Baptiste. So going to be difficult to support these snipers. You would love to have a Mercy here, Mercy Bat maybe, to try to give them a little bit of a damage boost, maybe get a res. But they need to have really good positioning to deal with this, and right now they don't have that crossfire yet.
And I'm interested to see if, if Venice Vipers are going to make something out of this Bastion composition that FrequenC failed to do. We'll see what happens. I mean, Bounty Mouse could also just dink the Bastion a couple times, kill them off. We don't know yet. It's all up in the air. And hopefully they play a bit faster this time and probably keep the Bastion alive because they have the Mercy this time around. Bastion doesn't just have to self-heal. This is going to be a bit of an interesting teleport from DMJY, taking their time. Taking the sweet damn time. Okay.
might need to hop in the custom game and give this one a check again afterwards to practice this one.
It's been 25 seconds and they still can't do it. What is going on here? Miss Volta has gone down at this point. The team, oh my, the team must be flaming them in comms right now. DMJY is fighting for their life in the voice chat, and Skyflower goes down. Oh my word, that was... What was that?
Yeah, not the way they probably practiced it in scrims or beforehand there, but it doesn't really seem like they care about the damage from the Bastion. DMJ has got a 3K so far here on this Symmetra, and although they're losing here, the trades will work out in their favor with this res.
Yeah, and I'm glad you took over there because I had a chicken nugget in my mouth. I thought this team fight was over, but DMJY, perhaps the redemption arc coming through. This is like when Mandeku learned Black Whip in My Hero Academia. That's one for the weebs out there. As Carrick looking to barrel forward and potentially kill off all these players in the choke, prevent the recontest, and the lamp utilized there.
Oh, wow.
What's all that about? The Reinhardt pins in and probably gets taken down here, I'd imagine. But are staying alive just a bit longer. But now you would love to have the immortality because the shadow comes through, it knocks them all down, and that's the cap coming through. And like you say, payload, awkward position, and you're gonna get the staggers.
Yeah, staggers, far spawns, exactly what you could not have if you're the side of FrequenC. They're not going to be able to have this early first point contest here. They're really going to have to hold it on one choke and hope they can win this fight to be able to push the cart back further, because this is not optimal spots for them. They're trying to get some picks there with Funky Pants, currently not able to really hit anything. But do or die here, and they have 4 ults online that they have to go up against. This is going to be difficult.
Yeah, and Funky Pants trying to off-angle, potentially get the Dragon Strike through here. Does manage to cut through the payload with it, and this is the Coalescence re-engage, but is caught in the Gravitic Flux. What a play from Joe Leese, stalling them out just long enough to force out all those resources. 2 ultimates used if you count that Immortality as an ultimate, and I sure as hell do. And Funky Pants is going to go down to Skyflower, whipping out the Glock, shooting him down, lights him up like the baby, and that should just be a teamfight win here if they can keep on using these ultimates for the offensive pressure. That being said, though, still, Venice Vipers have a lot of work to do. They got a flanking Widowmaker, and they still have to get these clean-up kills. They demark the enemy Diva, and I think this is looking like it. The Photon Barrier, just to keep themselves sustained and alive, ensure their victory, and it's just going to go to the end.
And see, the really thing that we haven't really talked much about is that this Widowmaker is just not had the angles with DMJ on this Symmetra and these big fights. When they're able to get the wall up on that ultimate, I mean, that completely negates anything that the Widowmaker can do. And with that at the end, even though they had like that backline pressure that sometimes worked really well for them, it just didn't allow them anything to get picks in the back. I mean, just the map geometry of King's Row alone, they basically, like, the cart blocked off anyone that could have been picked, and even they were just so spread out, they weren't able to really get those much-needed pickoffs to try to win the fights. But yeah, Venice Vipers 3-0, so they are going to end up being victorious today. We'll still play our 4th map, because map differential doesn't matter here. This is similar to how the first season of the Overwatch League ran. So still a chance here for FrequenC to end up getting a map. Very important when we get to seeding for our next stage, but Venice Vipers will go up 2-1 after this next map.
Yeah, and potentially Venice Vipers, I mean, they look unstoppable at this point. Maybe there's some opportunity here for FrequenC to turn things around and get a map win. That's the best you can expect out of this game now. However, they are still 0-2. They are still, not getting the actual map win out of this, and I don't even think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't even think they can probably seed pretty high or at all, right, for this tournament.
No, it's going to be difficult. So for anybody new here, how we end up doing our things is we'll do 5 matches in our stage 1. We then have a 1-week event week, which is starting up, which if you didn't catch our talk about it on Monday night in the Irish podcast, please go back and watch the VOD for that. We're going to be helping support Ukraine with our event week for charities this year. But anyway, back to our stages work. We will then reseed our teams into a group A, B, and C across all of our groups here. Group A and B are guaranteed spots into our playoffs. The C group is kind of like an elimination pool is how we really word it. Sometimes it's worded C. I think it's going to be worded C for our EU group. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head the brackets. I'll try to pull them up here a second so I can remember. But anyway, you're not guaranteed a spot in the playoffs. We're going to probably be doing an 8-man playoff here. So the lowest 2 performing teams across the 8 after stage 2 won't make it through. So if you don't get that higher seeding and placement here in stage 1, you really put yourself in danger of not making it into those top spots when we get to the playoffs.
Yeah, pretty complicated tournament structure, but I do like it. It's kind of like a weed out the week type thing. I like that. So we'll see if potentially there can be a map win even here for latency. You kind of need that. And honestly, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Junkertown's the map for it. I mean, the Widowmaker gameplay, sure, but Venice Vipers have been seen to match them on the Hanzo and other aspects as well, the Arista Sigma as well.
Yeah, it's been difficult if they're not going to go to those other tank structures. And so far, they haven't really shown us any reason to expect that they are. The Venice Vipers are going to be on the defense here, which, considering how the game has gone so far tonight, you got to like their chances of holding. If I was FrequenC, I would want to be on the defense here. I wouldn't want to attack right off the bat. You're still going to see these Widowmakers for sure. 2 Madre and Bouncy Mouse already on that. We do have Ghost Dog going over to the Orisa. The first time we've seen that. Sneaky Salmon's going to be on that Sigma now. They're going to be going against a double shield Rhine Sigma on the defense with that Ashe. The biggest difference for me, though, is this Mercy. They have the res, they have the damage boost for both of their hit scans here, and there just isn't that support on the side of FrequenC.
Yeah, what? The one map where FrequenC, it doesn't matter in terms of the series win, do they actually play a feasible composition? Arista Sigma, Widow Hanzo, and the Baptiste. That is the most sensible thing they've played so far, and they already get a nice direct off onto the opposing Widowmaker, so that's going to force them back just a tad. And this Reinhardt is going to be... it's going to struggle a little bit against the Arista Sigma, wouldn't you say?
Oh, definitely. You might see a swap there, but I mean, they are able to pick off Quirky Turtle, so no longer the Hanzo on the attack. They're holding a pretty good position. 2 Madre is just getting the picks, and right now it doesn't even matter that the Orisa seems to be a better pick.
Yeah, I mean, there's just the kills coming through thick and fast for the defense. And that Reinhardt, I mean, I was mentioning how it might be a little bit worse off against the Arista Sigma, but if you can get up close and personal like that, if you can stop them from getting on the payload, it's arguably better.
Yeah, and like the positioning they were able to take there, especially once the fight broke out, they were able to push pretty far forward. But now here's the flank from Bouncy Mouse. We'll see if they're able to get anybody here in the back line. They should be able to get a free shot. No, they're caught out.
Okay.
And they go down quick.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate there as that Shatter is dropped from Joe Lease. You do see Sneaky Salmon over onto that Reinhardt to try and contest it, but 2 Madre already doing all the work, and it's this kind of conundrum here for Sneaky Salmon. Do you play the Arista Sigma and deal with the enemy Widowmaker and Ashe, or do you play Reinhardt and deal with the enemy Reinhardt? It's such a conundrum to have here.
Yeah, it is, exactly. And right now, I mean, good job here from the Game Geek to put enough pressure on. They do have the sights up, which is help, but they end up going down to Bouncy Mouse. I'm pretty sure they were coming back from spawn, or at least no, I think they were far enough in now, but that took out the sights. The ultimate now down from them. They should have the window. This is their chance to push forward, but they swapped up the tanks here to kind of match them. They are on the deep still.
That's a very nice catch on the Griddick Flux, though. It catches the Hanzo and the Ana, both of which do end up falling. and that's DMJY just turning the team fight around massively for Venice Vipers, as they're just looking to clean up, maybe even stagger Baptiste. This has happened way too many times when they've gotten the Baptiste stagger. Won't happen this time around, though.
I didn't even realize DMJJ switched roles there. Now they're on the off tank. They were that Hanzo player, but they seem to be a jack of all trades.
Yeah, I mean, why not, right? It's the last map, you can pretty much just off-roll and have some fun, as that's a bit of an interesting play from Jolise. Doesn't get the kill through, but they're going to back up to the payload and get control of that anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it ended up negating the nano boost, I guess, and the shatter ended up like kind of defensible and let them kind of get back to their team. But a minute now, the ult's kind of around for both sides. 2 Madre now off the Widow and onto the Doomfist, and kind of just diving in with no reward there.
I mean, like I said, they're having some fun. It's final map. I mean, they got some good seeding under their belt. They might as well. As Quirky Turtle, oh my, clicking heads out here on the Hanzo. I mean, that's impressive on like a Widowmaker hero, but on a Hanzo, that's great.
Yeah, wow. It's been interesting to see these Hanzos really do fantastic tonight for both of these teams. Now they're looking at a pretty good spot. They have the visor. That's going to help them keep this position. I like this forward hold, but they got to be careful because, well, they're off the Widowmaker now, so they don't have to worry too much about the card being protected. Yeah, Venice Vipers, no more hit scan.
To Madre with that, not the Sizing Slam, the Meteor Strike, killing off Quirky Turtle. The Reinhardt in here to try and get some damage through, but that anti-nade is massive. Skyflower making the difference, getting the nano as well onto, I believe, their Sigma. And that gets the damage through, that will be them just holding fully on this defense. The NJY goes down, but I don't think that flashy kill really matters there. Dragon Strike a little bit too late as well, so full hold coming through, and Venice Vipers not looking like they're going to even give up this one map differential.
No, it doesn't look like it at all. A really good job there. I don't think FrequenC was expecting the DPS swaps there. It looked like they were still expecting there to be some kind of hit scan coming back at them. And then all of a sudden you have a Genji diving on and following up some dives there from the Doomfist, and just too much on the front, the back line to really keep up with. And the team ended up getting a little bit split. They didn't have the peel there necessarily to deal with these new flankers. And now it's just up to the Vipers here to really kind of run what they want. They have 4 minutes to push pretty much to the end of first point. It's like almost there. It's a couple meters off. But they can kind of run whatever they want to go with here. They don't have to necessarily run the dive or run the Orisa. They can kind of go with whatever they would like to do here. And they're kind of sticking to pretty much the same comp they had last time, except you're going to see the games keep sticking onto that Genji. I believe they opened last time on that Ashe. But a pretty familiar comp on the side of FrequenC there. We do have... of course, everybody different roles. Funky Pants, who was also a DPS at some point now on the support, ended up missing a few of those. So they're going to be running the Ana Bap, so not the Moira that we've been seeing most of tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, it's interesting you mentioned there the play style, I think, of Venice Vipers. They went from playing a very kind of, I guess, frontline-based Reinhardt composition to then having the Genji and the Doomfist and being able to dynamically change back to that very divey style. It's one of the things I think Venice Vipers have done well this series, adapting, and the Genji's going to get in there, immediately assassinates Funky Pants right as I'm saying they're great at it, and Jolise just pins up Quakey Turtle up on the high ground, and gets counter-pinned by the enemy Reinhardt, but I don't think that's going to matter too much. Anna's there with the anti-nade, should get the kill through. And they'll get the kill onto the D.Va as well. And that's Jolise almost goes down 8 HP. This should be them getting the payload pretty much there. Might be a bit of a stall, but I don't think it's going to amount to much, not going to lie.
Yeah, they have a good positioning now. 2 Madre will be able to keep some high ground presence there. The Sigma shield can really block off all that room there that the Hanzo would really be needing. So they've got to push in. They got to deal with a really good setup side here. And this is just Venice Vipers game to lose.
Yeah, I don't think the I don't think FrequenC are going to really have much to do about this, really. You got Genji in your backline terrorizing your Baptiste, they end up going down. The Widowmaker is trying to get something done, but again, they're being contested. So many dashes coming through from the Gamer's Key, getting their moment of glory right at the end. Haven't been saying their name too much throughout the series, but they've made me say it towards the end, so, you know, kudos to you. That's the Venice Vipers taking a solid 4-0.
That they did. Fantastic job from the Venice Vipers. Very dominant there on Junkertown. They played their own game there. It just seemed like FrequenC wasn't well prepared to deal with that comp. It's really hard especially on that escort on Junkertown. It doesn't seem like that long of a walk back, but it's a pretty long walk back. And they weren't really able to step forward and try to fix anything. You know, their comp that they had, it seems like they're just kind of going with comfort fix there at the end, switching roles. But all in all, it seemed like a very different tale of two halves. It seemed to me, at least, like FrequenC, like Venice Vipers just came out of halftime like with a bone to pick. Maybe had a couple of words from their team that really got them centered away with what comps they should be running, and pretty quickly found out that FrequenC just looked different in that second half.
Yeah, it's that dynamic playstyle like we were talking about. I mean, their adaptations were great. How they were playing in relation to how FrequenC were playing was great. I mean, FrequenC opting for that kind of DPS-heavy playstyle, but Venice Vipers, they read it like a book. They got the ball in there on Hanamura. They played right into their own strengths as well. Over on Junkertown playing the Genji Doomfist. And yeah, I mean, congratulations to them for that victory today, because they well earned it. That'll be wrapping things up for us today, though, on the Tranquility Gaming broadcast. I've been Toasty, it's been Booth alongside me as well, doing the production and casting, so goated as usual. We'll be seeing you, I believe, just later on tonight for the NA games, so make sure you tune into that.